Have you ever felt like you're carrying a heavy weight on your shoulders? A weight made of anger, hurt, and old grudges? It's like you're stuck in a loop, replaying painful memories over and over, and you just can't seem to find the off switch. If that sounds familiar, then this story is for you. It's a story about a young woman named Maya and how she discovered the secret to true freedom. Maya was like many of us. For years, she carried a heavy heart, burdened by the pain of betrayal and disappointment. Friends had turned their backs on her, colleagues had schemed against her, and even family members had let her down. Every single night was a battle. She'd lie in bed, her mind a cinema replaying every hurtful word, every unkind action, every broken promise. The past wasn't just a memory, it was a constant, unwelcome guest in her present. She was trapped in a prison of her own making, and the bars were forged from resentment. This emotional baggage was taking a toll. Her sleep was restless, her days were filled with a low-level anxiety, and she found it hard to trust anyone new. The joy in simple things seemed to have vanished. She was living, but she wasn't truly alive. She was just going through the motions, weighed down by invisible chains that kept her tethered to the past. Does any of this sound like something you've experienced? That feeling of being stuck, unable to move forward because of something that happened long ago? It's a lonely and exhausting place to be. One cool evening, searching for a moment of peace, Maya found herself walking through a quiet, beautiful park. The trees rustled softly in the breeze, and the setting sun painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. As she walked, she noticed an elderly woman sitting peacefully on a bench. There was an aura of profound calm about her, a tranquility that seemed to radiate from within. Maya felt an unexplainable pull, a sudden urge to speak. Approaching the bench, Maya sat down and, to her own surprise, began to share her story. The words tumbled out of her, a torrent of pain and frustration that she had held back for years. She spoke of the betrayals, the disappointments, and the deep, gnawing anger that had become her constant companion. The old woman listened with a deep, patient empathy, her eyes never leaving Maya's. She didn't interrupt, she didn't judge. She simply held the space for Maya to finally release what she had bottled up inside. When Maya had finally emptied her heart, her voice trailing off into the quiet evening air, the old woman smiled gently. She then spoke words that would change Maya's life forever. "My dear," she said, her voice soft but firm, "holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. In the end, you are the only one who gets burned." Maya looked at her, confused. The woman continued, "Forgiveness is not about letting them off the hook. It's not for them at all. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. It is the key to your own freedom." Maya walked home that night with the old woman's words echoing in her mind. The only one who gets burned is you. She thought about it all night. She realized how much energy she had spent being angry, how many beautiful moments she had missed because her mind was preoccupied with old wounds. The grudges weren't hurting the people who had wronged her. They were probably living their lives completely unaware of the turmoil inside her. The hot coal was searing her own hand, her own heart, her own soul. She realized the truth in the woman's wisdom. Forgiveness wasn't about condoning what had happened. It wasn't about saying, "It's okay that you hurt me." It was about saying, "I will no longer allow what you did to control my life, my peace, and my happiness." It was a profound shift in perspective. The goal wasn't to absolve them. The goal was to liberate herself. Forgiveness was the act of taking back her power. The very next day, Maya made a conscious choice, a decision to heal. She decided to begin the process of letting go. It wasn't going to be easy, and she knew it wouldn't happen overnight, but she was determined to try. She started by writing letters. She wrote a letter to the friend who betrayed her, pouring out all her pain and disappointment onto the page. She wrote to the colleague who undermined her, detailing how their actions had affected her confidence. She wrote and wrote, not with the intention of ever sending these letters, but as a way to physically and emotionally release the poison from her system. It was like lancing a wound, letting the infection out so that healing could finally begin. With each letter she wrote, she felt a small piece of the burden lift. It was her way of acknowledging the pain, giving it a voice, and then consciously deciding to leave it on the page instead of carrying it in her heart. But writing wasn't enough. She needed to make it real. So when she was alone in her apartment, she started speaking words of forgiveness out loud. "I forgive you," she would say, sometimes whispering, sometimes shouting into the empty room. "I forgive you for the pain you caused, and I release myself from it." At first, it felt awkward, even phony. The hurt was still there, a dull ache in the background. She felt like an imposter, just saying words that didn't feel true, but she persisted. Day after day, she practiced this ritual. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, something began to shift inside her. The tight knot of anger in her stomach started to loosen. The constant replay of painful memories in her head began to fade, replaced by moments of quiet. It was like the sun breaking through a thick layer of storm clouds. The anger that had once consumed her, that had defined her for so long, started to lose its power. Her mind felt clearer, lighter. Her heart, once so heavy, felt calmer. Her spirit, which had been trapped for years, finally felt free to soar. She started noticing the small joys again. The taste of her morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the sound of laughter. She was no longer a prisoner of her past. Maya finally understood the powerful, life-altering truth. Forgiveness doesn't change the past. It can't erase what happened. But it does something far more important. It transforms your future. Years passed. Maya grew into a woman who radiated the same peace she had once seen in the old woman in the park. Of course, she still remembered the hurt. The scars were there, a reminder of the battles she had fought and won. But the memories no longer controlled her. They were simply part of her story, chapters in a book that was still being written. They no longer had the power to cause her pain or steal her joy. She had learned the most valuable lesson of all. By forgiving others, she had given the greatest gift to herself. She had set herself free. She had chosen peace over pain, freedom over bitterness, and a future full of light over a past shrouded in darkness. So, what about you? What hot coals are you holding on to? What old wounds are you allowing to define your present? Maybe it's time to follow Maya's path. Maybe it's time to write that letter you'll never send. Maybe it's time to whisper those words of forgiveness into the quiet of your own room. Remember, forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. It's your key to freedom. It's your first step toward a lighter, brighter, and more peaceful future. You deserve that freedom. If this story resonated with you and brought you a moment of reflection or inspiration, please consider subscribing to our channel, Stories by Heart. We share stories like this every week to help you stay inspired, grow wiser, and maybe even learn a little English along the way. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you in the next story.